Let us start this session with a silent prayer. Good evening, all. It's my immense pleasure to welcome you all to the second session of the Professional Development Program and to introduce the resource person, Dr. Kayati Shah, Assistant Professor at KPJ Hinduja College of Commerce, Mumbai. She is in academic field since 2007. She has also worked as coordinator for BCom Financial Market Program for 8 years. She has pursued her PhD in Business Policy at Administration. She is recognized PhD guide at University of Mumbai. She is a member of ad hoc Board of Studies, member of Bachelor of Financial Market at University of Mumbai, KJ Soumya College and MCC College. More than 50 research papers were published in national and international journals. Many of her research papers have been awarded best papers in national and international conferences. She has been a resource person for many research methodology workshops. We are happy to have you as a resource person for today's program, ma'am. Now I hand over the session to you.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon to everyone, all the participants there. I hope I will be able to justify the topic that is given to me today. Okay, first of all, am I clearly audible to everyone there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'll just share my screen once.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So in this workshop, the topic that is given to me is review of literature, variables, testing of hypothesis, and tomorrow I'm going to take up designing questionnaire. So before I start, and what I thought, I always, before starting a workshop, I decide that, okay, after my session, 1.5 hour session, my participants should be clear with these many concepts. I may not get into a very technical details, or I may not talk of great things. I am going to talk about a very simple few such areas where most of the researcher gets stuck. And those gray areas I'm trying to going to clear today. And again, before starting any session, I always share this with all my participants that, see, in research, there is nobody expert, and there is nobody like, doesn't know about the researcher like that. We all are in a different stage of learning. In research, we all are in a different stage of learning. There may be few things that I am not aware. There may be few things that you are not aware. We all are collectively working towards improving our research culture in India. So I always assume that my participants are maybe are very good at in one area. There are some trainers, there are some trainees who are very good in certain areas. So we all are a part of a same group. It is just that I may be more comfortable with some areas, and then hence I'm here to discuss those areas with you. During my session, what you will observe is I'm going to share a lot of my experience. I have learned from my mistakes. I have not learned from others' mistakes. So I want you all to learn from my mistakes, and that will make your journey towards research easy. One more thing, I am actually not aware that the participants are of at which level. Are they have they completed their PhD? which level of knowledge do they possess. So just to keep it all at uniform platform, I'm going to start with the very basic things of review of literature, and then we'll go to the, and I will also touch the higher stuff. So I will try to complete everything in this 1.5 hours. In this session, what my intention is to make review of literature easy, comfortable and interesting. The main idea is that, most of us, at least for me and my peer group, what I observed was, we usually, review of literature nahi hota yaar, statistics ho jata hai, we collect data, we do analysis, we are very happy with that. But when it comes to review of literature, we are not really happy, and there is always a fear of plagiarism that always stuck to our mind, and how to go about it. So I'm going to discuss a very small issues that we encounter when we do ROL. Then I'm going to discuss about variables, and then from all these, how we derive or formulate hypothesis. I feel after attending this session, if my participants are coordinating very interestingly with me, and they are there together, at the end of the session, you'll be comfortably forming or framing any hypothesis after this. So let us check this. Just to bridge some gap between the earlier session and my session, you all must have got these questions that why do we do research? So there is always a research question that you want to answer through your research process. It may be to gain the knowledge, it may be to gain to answer some questions, to solve some problems, to identify new variables, to conduct new studies, to check the existing studies, to check whether those theories are the same or not, or to develop your own theory, right? So this is an overall reason that why do we conduct research. So there are two, I won't say types of research, but usually research is bifurcated or maybe classified. There are many types of research. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about there is a theory-based research, conceptual research, and one is statistical research, inferential research, right? Now, there is always an argument. Again, I want to clear a few doubts of many participants who come up with this doubt that is it necessary to have primary data in my research paper? Is it necessary that only after primary data our research is qualitative? Can't we just write our research paper? Now, I will share a small example with you all to clarify this doubt, and then we go ahead. The one thing that we all observed, I'm taking one example, right? How was your experience during lockdown period? Was it a pleasant experience? Quickly, you all can just give answers in the chat box. Yes or no? Complete lockdown. I'm talking about very initial stage. Everything was locked down. We all were locked in our home. We were so afraid even to go to terrace. I'm talking about those period. So was that experience pleasant for all of us? Quickly, some of the participants can say no. Okay. So it was waste of time. It wasn't so good. Okay, do you feel that lockdown had some influence on our psychology? At least for the kids and the senior citizen, they had some kind of depression. Okay, if I asked you all to write down a research paper on this, do you think you need to go and ask people? But don't you think your experience and your observation is sufficient enough to write down everything, that how the experience was during COVID? And if we have to write a psychological paper, then we can connect that if the people are in lockdown, if they are together in the home for a longer period of time, it will be stressful, it will be painful. So do you think we can write and we would not need any evidence? Can't we write a conceptual paper in this? Now my question is, can we write a concept paper in this without taking data? Because we know. How was it? Okay, this answers I want you all to keep it aside for a while. I'm coming to the next thing. If in a very vague situation, I'm talking about very dramatic situation, if somebody have stolen your stuff and you go and ask that person, will that person say yes, मैंने stole किया था? तुमने कोर्ट में जाके, पुलिस स्टेशन में जाके ये बताया कि इसने, so you, sorry, I will not speak in Hindi, I know the crowd will prefer me to speak in English. What do judge ask before proving somebody guilty? Evidence. Don't you think so? Even if you are sure, even if somebody has slapped you, you have to prove that somebody has slapped you. So everything has to be backed up with evidence. Do you all agree? To prove somebody guilty, to prove somebody innocent, we need to have evidence. So just your perceptions will not work. Your experience will not work. So if I write something with my experience, the writing is very good. It is very true. But these are essays. If Khyati Shah is writing something of her experience, is an essay. Most of the researcher feel when they start writing a new research paper, they know much, like somebody who's working in finance firm. Some of my students are really working in a very good finance firm. They are there. So they want to write and they know the crux. But then I ask, where is the evidence? Who told you this will have an impact on this? This has a relationship. No, ma'am, it is there. I know. Yes, dear, you know, I know. But it's not sufficient for you and me to know. There has to be some evidence that proves. Do you all agree until here? So without evidence, can we prove somebody guilty or innocent? No. Now let us take our earlier example that we can write a nice article on something that can be essay. Then what is conceptual paper and statistical paper? So let us come to the different level of research now. If somebody has slapped me, I may have a recording. I may take a witness and a sign from other people, or I'll make that person say something or in a tricky way. So I will create some evidence and put it in the court and say, yes, this person have done this. So it's not me who is saying, it's an evidence that is saying. In a research, if I establish, okay, well, let us come with our example, that was a very stressful situation. It was very painful to be at home without doing anything, and there are so many situations. Kids could not go to garden for a long months. Now what I do is I will structure a questionnaire. I will go to so many people and I will ask, what is stressful to you? Was it very pleasant for you? What was your experience? And now I collect the data, maybe of 500, and now I am saying that this data says that the lockdown was very stressful. Do you think people will now believe? Because there are 5, I have an evidence. I have a data that is evidence to me. Do you all agree? I want to answer yes, no. That when data says something, you can back up and you can say yes. And that makes your paper research paper. Now your findings have a substance. And now this is again a second stage. If we go to the higher stage, if we are studying, financial position of the people during lockdown period. Now, an RBI governor writing an article, do you think he needs evidence? People will simply believe because of the position that he is in. If Khyati Shah have written more than 40, 50, good 100 papers, at least 20, 30 good papers, and those papers are well published in the journals, and on a topic like financial position of the people. And now if I am writing a conceptual paper without evidence, without review of literature, and I am writing one paper that what was the financial position of people during COVID, people will read my paper because I have written enough stuff. I'm an authority on that. I'm a very good author. Then my paper can be published in a very good journal because my paper is just not conceptual paper. It's not an essay. It includes my experience, my research that I've done in the last so many years. So let us come back. Now I'm going to tell you what is the importance of ROL in this. So until now, I hope the concept is clear with you all, that in very renowned journals that we try to put our papers, they get rejected. Sometimes they feel, okay, why are you working on? In fact, in the most prestigious journals and a very very good journals, they don't give more importance to statistical papers or primary data papers. They give importance to a conceptual paper or review based paper. Not always, but sometimes yes. So it is not that your paper, if does not have a primary data, is of no use, but how you are writing, when you are writing, which stage of your research you are in, you are writing that paper. So let us come back now. Okay, this is the research process, and I will not you choose a topic and how the whole journey starts. Usually what happens is a lot of challenges people face when they select, ma'am, summer, I don't know how to choose a topic. Which topic should I select? This topic is too general. This topic is too unique. This topic is too new to take up. This topic is too old. I really don't know how to go about. The reason that we are not aware that which topic we should choose for our PhD or for our subsequent research publication is because we don't adhere or don't we create an interest in one particular area. See now how it goes usually in Western country. If a student is doing some sort of masters, they have their research projects, so they may take up some finance topics. I'm giving them an example. Then that person will work little more or in that area, will read a lot of many publications or projects, research papers. Now that person knows each and everything about that finance and knows at which area requires research. Then that person will write through 3 to 4 research papers. Then out of all this, when that person, the student, feels of getting registered for PhD, then they will pick up a good topic. In that topic, they will take up a huge topic or little broader area in that PhD. After completion of their PhD, they become doctorate and master and authority in that particular area of finance, maybe some topic of finance. Later in their life, throughout their life, they keep writing on the same topic again and again. So when they keep on writing the same topic with a different attributes or different variables or with an interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary approach, now that person become expert in that particular field. And after years together, that person becomes a very renowned author in that field. Most of us in India, or at least I have done this. Whenever I get a brochure of some conference, I start writing. Kabhi marketing, sometimes on HR, sometimes on this, sometimes on that. Don't do that. Select one area for your PhD, and throughout your life, you keep doing a research, but a new attributes, new way of research. Correct? Now we are moving to the next, choosing the topic for research. Okay, I am ignoring this part because this is not what I'm going to discuss. I'm directly coming to review of literature. What is review of literature and why are we doing this review of literature? It is a very, very important aspect of research. It's an heart of research. It is a very important concept of research. If there is no ROI, then whatever you are doing is all raw. It's all in air. It doesn't have a foundation. It doesn't have a ground. So it's a source of research. Research comes from ROI. It helps to understand concepts, theories, model, etc. It takes research to the next level. What if we don't consider ROL? So we will keep doing the same thing. Nobody will read our work. They will not recognize our work. And we are not. So everybody is building their own road. Nobody wants to walk on the road which is already constructed. And there is no extension. Correct. So review of literature holds a very important role. It has a multi-role again. So review literature is an essence or rather a soul of research. Now the question is, why to construct the road to reach our destination when we have roads already constructed? If I have to travel from Mumbai to Madras, so now should I start working on constructing a road? Or I have a multiple ways. I can come by road, I can come by air, I can come by train. But do you think that I should again start? So if you start constructing your own road, you're not recognizing others' work. Similarly, in research, if you are not reading, if you are not reviewing existing literature, you are redoing something which is already done by someone. So what should be the whole idea? So existing literature and your findings becomes a path for others, because your research will be a review of literature for others. And this is how the knowledge in the particular field gets expanding. Now, at what different stages review of literature is required? Right from choosing a topic, even before choosing a topic, even if you start doing a say, which area should I do a research in? After my master's, master's in commerce, MCom, I want to do HR or marketing or finance. So I keep hunting, I keep reading what people are doing, what are the different opportunities in the different areas. Then I choose human resource management. Under human resource management, then I start reading what are the current situation, what is done in past, what are the theories. So why masters is compulsory for PhDs? Because you choose your specialization. Now you are master of that area. You choose among all this one topic which you will continue, and you will become doctorate in that. So you are an authority in that particular field or a topic. So right from choosing your topic, you need ROL. To build your concept, you need a review of literature. To understand the current situation, you need ROL, that is review of literature. To identify variables. Now, what is variables? Exactly that I will discuss in the next slides. Identify variables. Okay, I'll just keep looking at my watch. So, because we have a long topic today. Identify variables, you need review of literature. To identify the gaps, you need review of literature. Even if you want to structure a questionnaire, see, there is huge, again I'm going to discuss this tomorrow, because tomorrow my session is completely on designing questionnaire. Why to create a questionnaire when something is readily available? Somebody have done a structured questionnaire, have done so much hard work. You pick up, before applying, you need to do pilot study. You need to confirm whether that questionnaire is sufficient for you, reliable for you or not. So even for that, you need to do review of literature. What should be your sample size? Review of literature will tell you. Which test should I apply? Review of literature will tell you. How to write a research report? Even that can be discussed, or that can be refined by doing proper review of literature. So review of literature is just not to add the pages to your thesis. It is a whole and soul of your research. If your review of literature is strong, I don't think you will go wrong anywhere in your research. If you take care of all the parameters, then you should not be going wrong. And another thing, if you do your review of literature in a proper, systematic way, you will never get into plagiarism. I'm 100% sure you will never get into plagiarism. But you should know how to get through authentically, which we will discuss today. Okay, research world is like a web. Now, what is this web? You do a specialization in something. You do interdisciplinary study. You do multidisciplinary study. So in that study, what you do is, these are the variables. These are the studies. A has some influence on B. There is some relationship between A and B. Then somebody else said, no, there is a relationship between B and C. Then another researcher said, no, there is a relationship between C and D. Then somebody said there is a relationship between A and C. Now, these all you will get from review of literature, and you will create a model like this. Now comes gap analysis. You will say, not much study has been found which explains the relationship between F and G. Here is my research topic. This is what I'm going to do. Let me get into this and collect the data and see if there is any relationship or there is something between F and G. And if some relationship is established, then your work will be review of literature for someone else. So I hope until now the concept is clear with you all. So whenever you are not able to understand or some questions comes up, you can post it in the chat box. Now, usually what are the challenges that one face when they do review of literature? The first question comes is what to review. Reading is the biggest problem with all of us. In fact, we actually deliberately sit and do review of literature, whereas it should not be the case. It should be the process of learning. It should be our day-to-day habit. Example, if I am writing on higher education, reading journals of higher education should be my daily hobby. It should be my daily cup of tea. Daily I'm going to sit with those journals, keep reading. In fact, after in few months, you will be acquainted with all the concepts of higher education. You will get to know who is writing what, who are the authors. Like in movies, you know who is an actor and actress, because you are in touch of it, right? Who is your relative and what is happening in their life, you know, because you are aware about it, you are putting in conscious effort. But here we don't do that. We get up from our sleep only when we have to do PhD. So when I choose my student for PhD, I told them to read on that at least for 3 to 4 months. I know it went little delayed, but it's okay. They had to read so much of that topic, and now they're so much confident that yes, ma'am, we can do a lot of things here. There is so much to understand in this. So more you read, more ignorant you should be. More you read, more ignorant you should be. Once you feel, no, I know everything, then the knowledge is dead. So reading is very important. Keep reading on that particular area a lot. That there will be your answer to your question that which topic I should do research. What to review. Even in review of literature, what to review. How to review. Authenticity of the source. Whatever I'm reading, is it authentic or not? If I go to a very 5-star restaurant, I am sure the food coming to me should be authentic, hygienic, because I'm paying for it, right? What about eating some sandwiches at the right corner of your street? Question mark. Not very sure about it. Hygienic, we are not very sure. Similarly, if we are choosing your review of literature or literature from a very authentic and a proper place, you are sure the content is good enough to be reviewed. You should not review everything that is available on net. You should know right path of it. Which journals to refer, subscription issues, because most of those journals are very expensive. So how to get through it, I will show you some tricks also here. Problems in understanding the language. Again, most of us, even I, see, in between some session, I'm so sorry if I am questioning some societal norms. English is just a language. So knowing English does not describe my talent and my intelligence. I hope you understand that. Most of us get hitched in India, no? We are very obsessed with the language. If somebody speaks an excellent language, we feel that yes, this person is very intelligent. No, it's not that. So take it easy. But again, there is a challenge in reading a good journals because the language is a little more technical. Absolutely okay. I will show you how to go about it. See, the idea is to get what we want to know. Why we want to know everything that person is saying in that research paper? My idea is to get my share of thing that I'm looking in that paper. That I will tell you how to do it without getting into that hitch of I don't know English, and that's absolutely okay. Absolutely okay. How many reviews are needed and such things? I think I will skip this part, inductive, deductive, because I have very less time. Okay, literature mining. From where you get all those literatures? From books, from publishers, journals, articles, library, database. These are the places from where you get your literatures which you will review. So it's book, journals, article, newspaper, blogs, everything you can review. Everything you can review. Something that can be that are published, something which is not published also you can review, but will not be treated as a very good reviews. Correct? But that can be the part of your thesis or research paper. Okay. I'll be sharing some of the slides with you all to just some kind of database. So again, you all need to understand, one is research paper, another is research journal, another is publisher, and then there are database, and then there is search engine. So there is a difference between all this. So index, again, there is an index agencies, like something that is seen on the screen, Google Scholars, Scopus, PubMed. These are the all indexing agencies which gives ranking or the categories to the journals. Database where everything is stored together is like a library. Okay, so they have those pool of publishers too with them. Search engine helps you to search good research papers like Microsoft Academic or PubMed Central, correct? And publishers are like, the list is there in front of you, Sage Publishers or Elsewhere or Emerald or Taylor and Francis or Weekly, Economic Weekly. These are the publishers who publishes journals. So first of all, you should know the difference between these four things. Okay. Source of information, some of the links, again, this slide I will share with you all. Source of information, review of literature, some important tips of doing review of literature. Now we will start how to do ROL. If you are at the stage of choosing your topic, what you should be doing, I am giving you some tips. First tip, go to Google search page, mention the topic. At the end, anything that comes to your mind, I want to know what was the morale of employees during lockdown period. I want to know this. Write down whatever you want to in a Google search. At the end, write down PDF. Number of results will come up. Open in new tab, download those papers. This is the first thing that you should be doing. Second thing, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC, Morgan Stanley, and there are many more research agencies. So they basically prepare research projects. Again, I'm repeating, Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, McKinsey's. So when you are, in fact, you can also write project on using different words, because still now you are not sure about your topic. You are just topic I should do. So we are in the process of reviewing the literature. Before reviewing, you should know where this literature comes from, right? So then second thing is, you will go to these projects, download this project, skip it with you. Third is go to Shodh Ganga, Inflibinet and Shodh Ganga, where there are number of theses available with you. Then write down the thesis, whatever topic that comes to your mind, number of theses will come up. Click on those thesis links. They will give an option to download the entire thesis. Download and keep it with you. So first thing is collect all the literature, keep it with you. Then we'll sort one by one how to go about and how to come down to a topic selection. So Google Scholar search, use advanced search options. Google Scholar is also one way of doing it. We'll be doing some of those practical parts also. Search for review papers. Okay, third, very important. So first thing, Google search. Second, projects. Third, I told you about Shodh Ganga, thesis. Fourth is try to find review-based papers. Now, what is review-based papers? Say, for example, I am writing on higher education, factors influencing in the quality of higher education. So what I will be doing it sometime before starting a research, review-based paper. I will collect all literature that is there, or maximum literature on quality in higher education. I will write an entire paper on it, that which author is saying which variables were important, which factors influences the quality in higher education, and my entire paper will be on literature. That's it. So you should, the topic whichever you think of doing a research in, should have some research-based papers. These papers are research-based papers. Correct? Now the question will come to your mind, ma'am, kahan se milega? From where we will find this? I will come to that one. Relax. Refer the reference list. Now the fifth point, another tip is, if you have downloaded one research paper, you will also download the reference list with you. Download that reference list. See in that reference list, if some topic comes to your mind and you feel that, yeah, this is near to what I want to study, select that reference, put it in the Google search. Again, the research paper will be open. Again, that person will have reference list. So it's a web. Are you getting it? You can catch hold of so many people. In fact, if at all you get a chance of doing some workshop on systematic review of literature where softwares are used, bibliometrics or Zotero, or there are many such Manly. There are few more. I don't recall. Rian is one of them. So this software helps you to search good literatures which you can review. In fact, when you do this kind of collection of literature and you keep reading, bibliometrics actually show you that in the entire world, how many people are writing on this, and you will find that the world is so small, you will identify 50, 60 good people who mostly writing. And then you will see that author's name keeps on repeating. And you will get to know this person is a hero or authority in this area. Correct? See thesis on similar topics over Influminate and Shodhganga, which I already told you. Read quality journals. Take help of bibliometric or a sister. So if at all that workshop comes up anytime, you should do this workshop or go on YouTube and read how to do systematic review of literature using artificial intelligence. Now, what you should be reviewing. So now what you have literature. You have literature with you. So many literature you have with you. In that literature, what you will read? So I'll show you some of the practical examples. I don't know whether my screen is visible to you all. So there is some study going on, consumer buying behavior, comparison between working and non-working women in cosmetic industry. So conceptually I divided, and what I did is, just a second. Yeah. I collected this many literatures. These are not review of literature, these are just a literature. Now I am opening up one of the literature and going through it. So this is the research paper. If I have to review this, do you think I'm going to really read the entire paper just to select my research topic? No. But what you will read, so I want you all to note this down, what to review. Okay. First thing, you have to review topic. What is the title of the topic? Objective of the study, how this person have done a research, and what was the results. For which I have created this kind of one of the Excel sheet. So you all should be doing this. Whenever you think of doing your PhD or your research paper, you need to do this. And see, one more tip. Say, for example, you started doing your PhD, you think of PhD and you created this and you reviewed 50 research literatures, 50 literatures. If it is saved with you, you have already 50 literatures with you. After completion of your PhD, you are thinking of writing a research paper, you have 100 of literatures with you. You can pick up and write another paper. After writing that paper, you will add on more literatures. So this is your bank. You are saving money here. Correct. So this is your review of literature. So what you should be reviewing, the first column you will be just here. You don't have to read a paper. Just cut, copy, paste. What I said, just cut, copy, paste. So what I will do, cut, copy, paste is, first I will copy this title. If I have access to citation, if you all know how to derive the citation, do that. Just copy the entire citation to that column. In the abstract, most of the time we get all information. Even if some subscriptions are very expensive, don't go for the entire subscription. Only abstract will help you at this stage. So what you can do is, you can directly go to review of objective of the study. See, to study the factors such as brand, price, and so, just copy this objective, paste it in the column of objective of the study. Don't even think of reading the entire paper. Then methodology, if you wish to, at this stage you can skip the methodology, and the results or the analysis, or you can say conclusion. Just pick up and paste it. I will show you how it will look like. I think I missed it. Just a second. I have done it, some of them, so I wanted to show you. Okay, so I hope it is visible to you. Excel sheet is visible to you all. I'm showing a practical thing how to do your ROL. So these are the, since I didn't had a citation, I just copied whatever information was there. That is title and publisher's name, objective of the study, the findings, reading only these two things. I didn't even read the content of the paper, reading only these two things. I wrote whatever I understood from this. That is my ROI. Attempted to study the factor that influences the purchasing behavior of women consumer while buying cosmetic products. The main focus of the study was to know whether factors like brand, price, ingredients of cosmetic product had impact on purchasing cosmetic products. The result indicated, I'm just showing you. What does result indicated? Just a second. That the brand is the most influencing factor for women while making purchasing decision of cosmetic. It was found that women consumer checks the ingredients before buying. Study also found that Lakme was most preferred brand. Now, this is my ROI. See, you don't have to separately write ROI chapter actually. Just by reviewing the literature simultaneously. Now see the number of review of literature I have just created in a very less time. Let us come to back to our PPT. So again, I'm repeating some stuff. What you will do is you will collect the literature. From where will you collect literature? So I showed you this different databases there, or journals are there. We'll be doing it some practices for you online just now to show you how to do it through Googling. That is known as Googling part. So you collect the literature. In literature, what you are looking is very important aspect is, one, you are going to see, you collect the information about the paper, the source, then objective and the hypothesis if it is there. Then variables, you can hold on this when you are doing your topic selection. As of now, you wait. Methodology, findings, and write a remarks are your ROL. Now, understand this. Review of literature is your source. Conclusion is your destination. So the entire journey should be starting from ROL and it should end to your conclusion, and your conclusion will become an ROL from someone else. So it should be like this. ROL, from ROL you fetch your variables. From variables you understand whether these variables have relationship or differences. Then create your hypothesis. From hypothesis you set your objectives of the study. From objectives of the study, you create a questionnaire to collect data. This data will be then edited. It has to be clean, tabulated, and there are cleaning of data is necessary. Then data analysis through statistical tools, and that will give the conclusion. So I hope now you will understand that how important is ROL. It's very simple. So first stage, how to do it, to summarize, collect all the literature from various sources, which we will do it for next 5 minutes. Online, I'll show some of them, how I'm doing it. Next is download it, create one Excel sheet, just cut, copy, paste. Initially, don't do anything. When you will paste 50 objective of the studies by 50 literature, imagine number of objectives of the study you have in front of you. Now keep reading and understanding how people are doing a research, which areas research has already been done in the initial stage. So now you have ample of concept with you, which you can think and create a research. Okay, now the next, okay, before going ahead, I just want to quickly show you how do I search, collect literature, some glimpse of it, not in detail actually, but some glimpse of it. Now I have done it in the morning, wanted to show you all, but time is too short. It's running like, it's already 4:45. Okay, say for example, I want to know influence of online teaching on students. Okay, I'll say no, will not say online, because again that will take too much of time. Since I want to quickly show you all, I'll taking a general topic, teaching methods on students performance, influence of. So what I will do is influence of teaching methods on student performance on academic performance. So what I do is I'll click this. I will use different type of word, a study on, at a very initial stage, a very primary stage. I will write PDF and I will click. Now I will have number of research papers here. So this is a very general way of doing it. You can quickly start opening a different tabs and start collecting the papers. You will go here in the research gate. Most of them you will get from research gate. Open the paper. The paper is exactly right in front of me. Save this all literature in one of your folder. Now immediately what I will do is in our Excel sheet, I will just collect the citation information. Then I will read the abstract if I want to, just to see if everything is available there in the abstract. Introduction is there, research see objective. The primary objective of the study was to investigate the relationship between the effectiveness of different teaching methods on students' academic performance. So I will quickly copy this, paste in my Excel sheet. Then I will go to, if I want to get into the methodology, I can do that, which methodology that researcher has adapted, and conclusion. And I will paste this conclusion in my Excel box. That's it. After doing this, after doing it 40-50 such kind of literature, now I will concentrately read and relate. If this was the objective, this was the findings, what this author is trying to explain, what this author is trying to understand in their research paper. And that is my review of literature. So I have done that today morning for y'all. With these topics I have done. Okay. So this was the one way of doing it. Another is Shodh Ganga. If I go to Shodh Ganga, I hope my screen is visible. You have to open this Shodh Ganga. There is some fake site, shodhganga.com. Don't open that. It is shodhganga.ac.in. Here in the Shodh Ganga, sometimes they have their maintenance work also in that site. Again, the same thing we are going to do. You will download those theses. In that thesis, they must have mentioned their objective of the study, their ROLs, and their findings. Just take those important gist, paste it in your Excel sheet. Just a second, huh? Khyati, RM Learning, college, new folder. So today, एक second. I think I have. Yeah. So today morning, I was just thinking of showing you some of the examples. So what I did, I'll just solve one example in front of you. Okay. Method wala part, we can hide it. Focus. Now this is the information. I think my Excel page is open. Let me check. Yeah, it's open. focuses on learning outcomes in debates on teaching method in higher education, presents 6 core learning outcomes and 10 common teaching methods for each of the learning outcomes. This was the objective of the study. Okay, we can also take another exam. Sometimes you may also find some papers are not so good. You can always skip that. Not necessary that everything that you find on the Google and all the research paper are good enough to review. So you should take a judgment at which paper you should be referring. If I take up this paper aims to study the effect of digital flipped classroom teaching method integrated cooperative learning model. If I read the entire objective, I read the findings, I will write in my own words. Here I will write my review of literature. After this, what you are going to write is variables. Now, what is variables is what I am going to share with you all. Now, what is variables? Okay, what do we research in research? Or what is the main lead of the research? What is the center to in the research? Variables. The entire story is all about variables. This is very important thing that we miss. Sometimes people write good research paper, but they don't know what they were talking all about. What was in center? What was centric? Correct. There can be more than one variable. It can be actors like there can be more than one variable. Okay. Anything that varies, anything has a fluctuation, anything that has a pattern has to be evaluated. That can be questioned, that can be studied. If something is constant, what we will study? Like simple example, how does our cardiogram looks like when we are alive? It's up, down, zigzag. And when we die, it's a straight line. Then nothing to, there is no fluctuation, no life. Similarly, in a research, if something's fluctuating, something has a pattern, you do study, and that is variables, that is varying from one place to another, or from one concept to another, from one time to another, from one person to another, etc. For important variables, there are many types of variables otherwise, but we are not getting into this. I'm talking about the most important classification of variables: independent, dependent. These are the classification. Another is mediating and moderating. So today you will understand what is independent variable, what is dependent variable. So initially what we did was review of literature, how to collect literature, how to review the literature. From reviewing the literature and writing what you understand, you have to derive variables. If you are referring one research paper, what was the variable of that paper? You should know. And what nature of variable was that? So you should be able to understand that. So let us see what is independent variable. That is stable, unaffected. In short, if we look at parents and children, who is dependent on whom? Children are dependent on parents. Parents are independent. They are not dependent on the children. They are dependent on their parents, right? So to remember what is independent and dependent, so you should remember this. Independent variable are not getting affected by others. In fact, they are the cause. They are influencing others. Dependent get influenced, like children get influenced by their parents. We are dependent on our parents for the food, for clothes, for everything. So they influences us, right? So you have to remember independent like parent and dependent are like children. So you have to remember this. Okay, if there is a price and demand, when price decreases, demand for the product increases. To be very, very, very simple, what is price? If your demand is increasing or decreasing, that has an influence on the price. Or when there is a price, so there is a exclusive relationship here in this case, especially. If the demand goes down for some purpose, company will come down with the price. What if the price increases, demand comes down? So there is some kind of relationship between price and demand. To start with, can we say low price leads to increase in demand? To start with, yes. So in this case, when the price are decreased and the demand increases, in this circumstances, we say price is an independent variable. So demand is depending on the price. Example, teaching method influences. Now I want you all to quickly answer in the chat box. I will just read first 5 answers and I will change the slide. So I want you to tell me teaching method influences the marks of students. So marks of students depends on the teaching methods. So which is independent and which is dependent variable? So I want you all to quickly write down in the chat box. Teaching method is which kind of variable and marks of the student is which kind of variable? Okay, some have said that teaching method is independent and marks of students are dependent. Marks is dependent. Very good. So I think this first 5 answers are right. Perfect. I hope concept is clear. Independent variable क्या होता है पता चल गया. Dependent variable is also you all are aware. One more practice. To study the effect of increase in employment, if the employment in the country increases, does it have an influence on standard of living? So I want to quickly know, increase in employment is which kind of variable? Standard of living is which kind of variable? Okay, I need not tell you here how to identify variable in a sentence. To study the effect is not a variable. Increase in employment keeps on increasing is a variable. Standard of living keeps on changing variable. So increase in employment is what? Independent, and standard of living is dependent. Perfect. So again, this concept is very clear. Now, please identify a variable. In this question, identify a variable and give me an answer. What is IV and what is DV? What is IDV and what is DV? Employee satisfaction is influenced by employees' engagement policies in the company. Employee satisfaction is influenced by whom? Employees' engagement policy. So which is independent variable? Exactly. Independent variable is employees engagement policy, which is influencing employee satisfaction. Matlab, if the employee engagement policies are good, employees are satisfied. Clear till here? Okay, stop. Now we are quickly going to the next topic. Mediator. Until now, I hope the concept of first of all, in the objective of the study, when you do review of literature, when you have that Excel sheet in front of you, you will look at the objectives. Now, okay, if you all can quickly see this. This is unsolved example. In this objective, can you tell me which are the variables? First, tell me only variables. This article identifies the association between two methods for teaching, learning, teaching, learning, lean manufacturing, teaching method, lean manufacturing, problem-based learning, and classroom lectures and students' learning styles of the postgraduate courses. So first we need to identify only variables. Methods of teaching. Is one thing. Lean manufacturing, LM, problem-based learning, classroom lectures. And so these are the three things, three methods. Students' learning style of a postgraduate course. Both are independent variables. Both are variables. Just they're trying to understand the association. First you find the association, then you can find the relationship. So what you will do in ROL, in these objectives, you will pick up variables. And then you will name the variable, whether this variable is independent variable or a dependent variable. Let us come back. Okay. Independent and dependent is done. Now we are coming to moderating variable. What is moderating variable? Variable that causes mediation in the dependent and independent between two people, dependent and independent. It explains the relationship between the two. In fact, they try to create the relationship that one variable is causing an effect on another because of something. It's known as middleman. Take an example. It's like an panditji getting two people married If Pandit J is not there, there is no relation between X and Y. So X is a predictor, Y is the outcome. X is the independent variable because of which something has been created, is Y, that is dependent variable. And mediator is something that is creating a relationship or establishing relationship between the two variables. How is this coming up? Let us check this. Pictorially, now let us see this. With the increase in income, health screening also increases. But provided people have this education or a knowledge that health screening is important. So just by gaining income, health screening will not go up. People will not go for health screening. People go for health screening when their income increases, but because they are educated, now they are well aware, hence they are going for health screening. If you remove education, then you will not find a good relationship between, they will not be able to explain why is income influencing health screening. It is because of education. Now, you have to quickly do this. Does anxiety affect test performance? I want to know, does anxiety of something influences my test performance? How am I performing in my paper? If so, does it depend on test taking experience? I am writing a paper at home. I am writing a paper in my school when my teacher is sitting on my head. I am writing a paper when somebody told me, see if you make a single mistake. And somebody is telling me it's okay, write in your own way. These are all test taking experience. So tell me which are the variables, which is independent, which is dependent, which is mediator. Slowly you can go ahead. First of all, identify which is independent variable. Chat box pe likho which is independent variable. Anxiety, test performance, test taking experience. Exactly. Very good. Anxiety is independent. Test performance is dependent. But this tool can be established only when you know that is test taking experience. If the test taking experience is good, it may have a different kind of relationship. Correct? Mediating variable. Okay. Staff picnic leads to cohesiveness. If college takes staff for a picnic, then there will be a cohesiveness among the employees, which leads to active participation. Now, can you all tell me what does it mean? What if we go for a picnic, staff picnic, but there is no active participation? Why? People couldn't come together. People have their own staff. We all know what is the environment in a staff room. Two people are sitting in the one corner, another group is in another corner, third group is in third corner. So we all went for a picnic, but we were all in our own group, in our own friend circle. We never created that cohesiveness. Will it lead to active participation in college? No. So now I hope things are clear that cohesiveness is creating a relationship between or establishing a relation between staff picnic and active participation. Now, this is what moderating variable. Mediation is over. Mediation establishes, it creates, it justifies, explains. Moderator influences. Relationship will be there. In the absence of even moderation, relationship is there, but moderator will tell you how far it is influencing. Now, say let's take an example. In most of the cases, moderators are the demographic variables, that is categories. This is how moderating variable looks like when it is put in a graphical presentation. Independent variable has influence on dependent variable. Moderating variable is not creating a relationship, not establishing or explaining, but influencing the strength of the relationship. If I have to say, students' learning skills moderate the effect of teaching method. See, most of us are teacher. We know we give our best. I adopt a teaching method. Today also I am taking up one method of explaining stuff. And then there is a performance of the scholars who are there in this workshop. But also, don't you think there is one variable which influences the performances of students' learning skills? There, out of how many respondents here? Out of 220 participants, some must be able to understand quickly. Some may have a different way of getting it. Some understand because of graph, some is understanding because either way I am explaining, some is understanding because I'm asking questions. So we all have a different skills. So because of that, the relationship between teaching methods and the improvement in the performance changes. So that is known as moderating variable. So quickly I want you all to do this. Then we'll directly go to formulation of hypothesis. It's already 5. We have only half an hour with us, and I want to cover this part. In fact, I'm not so happy today because I'm literally rushing. Because tomorrow I'm going to take up questionnaire. Before that, you should be knowing why are we collecting questionnaire and what are we collecting in questionnaire. Correct. So before that, you should know how to frame hypothesis. So I want you all to do this quickly. Management process alignment. First variable. Positively influence is not a variable. Performance of higher education. Second variable. Through service quality and organization commitment. Don't you think that we have 4 variables? Purpose of this paper is to analyze the relationship between management process alignment, service quality, organizational commitment, and high educational performance. Higher education performance. Now, if I have to create this, which is independent variable, management process alignment, is influencing what? Higher education performance. If the management process alignments are very good, which will influence the quality in higher education, performance of higher education. But how? Only when the services are good, when there is an organizational commitment. Let us remove this. Do you think now there will be a relationship? Is it necessary that because there was a good management process alignment, education performance was good? Not as necessary. See, planning does not give results. It's an implementation that gives result. Planning is excellent. Our government have excellent planning. We are very good at that. But what if the implementation was poor? Will it show up in the performance? No. Similarly, here mediating variable is something like, those are the variables which makes a relationship strong or creates a relationship. There is a significant so how do you write? If you collect the data and you apply the test, how do you write this? There is a significant mediating effect of service quality and organizational commitment on the relationship between whom? Management process and the higher education performance. This is how the graphical presentation should, hypothetical graphical presentation should look like. Another example is this. Multi-model pe kaam. Sometimes you feel, how will I be able to do this multi-modeling? It's very stressful. No, it's not. It's very, very, very simple. It's very simple. Even it is just that you need to read a lot of stuff. You should be doing a lot of reading. This will come with habit. If you keep reading, collecting the literature, putting in the proper box, keep reading the articles and the objectives, identifying variables, you will understand papers very easily. Only by reading abstract you can do that. So this is again one more model which I have created here, only by 2 things: purpose of the paper and findings. And I created this model that best faculty, excellent physical resources, and wide range have relation with service quality management. Because service quality of the higher education is very good, has an impact on outcome of higher education. How will my quality of the institution justifies my higher performance? Because of placement. What if my college doesn't give placement? My college doesn't give placement, but my outcome is very good. That's not possible. If your placements are good, it means your outcome is good. So that's how you develop a mediation variable. Some more technical topics are there, but I'm rushing little ahead is because I want to explain you all how to formulate hypothesis. Okay. If time permits at the end, then I'll go back to those slides and tell you how did I created those models. Now I have 20 minutes with me, so I'll spare this 20 minutes only in hypothesis. Okay, quickly, can 2-3 participants tell me what is hypothesis? Oh, don't give me this explanation. Tentative statement, assumptions, तो सबको पता है. Okay, tell me, is it necessary to have hypothesis? It is a tentative assumptions. Before starting any research, do you think we should have some assumptions? No? If at all I am coming to Madras for a tour with my family, don't you think I should have some assumptions on how my tour should be like? It's a tentative statement. It's an assumption that a researcher assumes before starting the research. How it comes from? It comes from review of literature. From where review of literature? From variables. Just now what we did. I'll show you this. This was the finding of someone else. And now this is a model of review of literature hypothesis for me. I want to know whether service quality management have an impact on outcome performance of higher education. With different variables, I will try. So that is hypothesis for me. It was a conclusion for someone else. For me, it is an hypothesis. So through gap analysis, through ROL, identify the need for the study. You identify the variables. From that variables, you will identify which is independent, which is dependent, which is mediator, which is moderator. Sometimes there may be mediating and moderating, sometimes they are not. Correct? And to check whether there is a relationship. In fact, in a research, in an object of the study, most of us, we should be doing first relationship. We identify relationship between variables, differences in the variables, impact. Impact is not studied through data collection. It is done through experimentation. So you should know when to use which word: influence, relationship, differences, impact, effect. Correct? Now let us understand the story of hypothesis. Now the question is, what is the relationship between this girl and a boy? Question hai ye. My research area is this. I want to know the variables are two, boy and a girl. ये मुझे कहाँ से मिला? Review of literature. From literature, when I was reading, somebody said that this relationship was this, etc., etc. Now I want to know. So for my study, I had to pick up these two variables. I found it interesting, and I want to know whether they have this relationship. What relationship they have? So first I will assume. So before that, what assumptions you will make when you see any boy and girl together? What assumptions you will make, or what assumption our society will make directly? Friends, boyfriend, girlfriend, couples, father, daughter, brother, sister, multiple way we can describe the relationship. But don't you think before I jump to a conclusion that they are couples or they are brother, sister, or they are father, daughter, mother, son, I should not ask the question whether they have a relationship, whether they are known to each other, whether they are associated. So here comes the role of our main hero, null hypothesis. So first, before studying anything, we check with the null whether relationship is there or not. They are strangers. So first assumption could be they are strangers. They are null. The relationship is null. No relationship. If through collecting data, I asked many people, do you think they have some relation? Everybody said, no, we never saw them together. They are not in the same class. They are not of the same age. I've never sent them together in the college. So now all those data says, no, there are no relationship, or data can say there are relationship. If null is accepted, there will be some parameters that will say null is accepted, then the story ends here. They are strangers. And if they are strangers, will I say no, they are brother sisters? My study says that their null hypothesis is accepted. What is null hypothesis? That they are stranger is accepted. So data said no, they don't have significant evidence to say that they have some relationship. Then I have to accept my null. So when you accept the null, acceptance means there is no relationship. Clear with this? First thing. What if they are rejected? If they are rejected, now the story of the research starts. If they are rejected, I want to check with alternate. So if they are not stranger, it means they have some relationship. What kind of relationship they have? Are they brother, sister, friends, lovers, husband, wife, classmates, societal, trainer, trainees, whatever? And what kind of relationship do they share? Inverse or direct? Positive or negative? So people directly start studying from your positive relationship, negative relationship, and this and that mediator and variable. No, first check with null. If null is accepted, story ends. If null is rejected, in fact, we don't say rejected, we say it is not accepted. Then we can go ahead with the alternate hypothesis. Acha, now the question arises. Why do, before this, there are some people who are saying that hypothesis is must. What if there is no literature for that particular study? COVID lockdown and COVID period, those areas did not have literatures. So there will be no studies? Question, hai na? Quite possible there are no literature in that particular topic. The topic is new in itself. So then in that case, we do a primary study. We do collect data. We do write a conceptual paper, and then we name it as working hypothesis. Something which you are not very sure, there is no ROL. Then you have to go with exploratory factor analysis and check if there are factors that is influencing certain conditions. Correct? So there can be study without literature, there can be study without hypothesis, but we don't say null and alternate, we say working hypothesis. Then that is a simple statement. Okay. So where was I? Tell me, if the literature is saying so much about relationship between X and Y, why I'm starting with null? Why don't I directly start with brothers? Because there are 10 people saying they are brother, sister. Why I am starting with whether they have a relationship or not? Because of two major reasons. First, it is always safe to start with 0. It is always safe to say no. What if they will come up with that they are couples? It will be so humiliating for them. Similarly, don't just say that there is no they have a relationship. One is independent, one is very dependent. No. Let us check with the null. And if that is not accepted, that they don't have a relationship, they have a relationship is what we are looking forward, then you should go and study the further statistics. Second, very, very important reason is statistics. When you apply any statistical tool to check the relationship between two variables, they always give results for null. Now let us see this. In this case, if my, just a second. In this case, say for example, if my p value was 0.03, my null hypothesis has to go. It has to be rejected. It is not accepted. And my another next stage, I will go ahead with the research. Now, if you don't have this knowledge about null and hypothesis and your results is 0.03, how will you interpret what this 0.03 is saying? It says that null hypothesis is rejected, is not accepted. All our statistical test checks for null. So when you run the test result will be like this. They will show you this. Either this way they will show you, or value, or they will show you significant value. That's it. They will show you this value. So what this 0.03 says, any parametric test, non-parametric test, they will give you this kind of results. They are saying that null hypothesis is not accepted because the significant value is less than 0.05. Hence, we say we should always write our null hypothesis first. If you start checking alternate, what you will do is you will you will not accept alternate in this case. If at all, you will not understand hypothesis. Another way of explaining this. I went for PTR test. Tell me, my test says I'm positive. What does it mean? What would be the assumption of the pathologist who have tested me? What would be the assumption? When they say, the report says I'm positive. So why are they writing positive? For what are they writing? What are the assumption for them that they are writing it is positive? I think I am making things clear and not confusing you all. My question was, if we check for malaria, if we check for any disease, what is an assumption of the diagnostic center? Okay, I'm putting it more simply. If we go for corona test, if I'm I am COVID positive, I get a report of that my report said that I'm positive, corona or COVID positive. The diagnostic center has assumed that I have an infection. They have put an assumption that I have an infection. In research, in social science, we don't say that. We say no, it doesn't exist. We check for non-existence. They check for existence. Hence, for positive means that assumption was true. In our case, in statistics, you take up any test, parametric test, T test, Z test, F test, all tests says that null. They check the result that comes up, they check null. They don't check alternate. So I tried my best to explain you all about hypothesis. Now we are moving to the next. Just a second. Slide. So we should go for null hypothesis. First reason I told you, to be safer side, to start with 0, and second, because our statistics always check null hypothesis. Null mean nothing. If I want to check the income of Mr. X, I collected the data. I got this review of literature, collect the data, review of literature, and they said that income of Mr. X should not be more than 50,000 in any circumstances per month. Then for me, my null hypothesis will be like this. Income, null hypothesis should not be more than 50,000 at any. It can be 25, it can be 30, it can be 49, it can be 49,599, but it will not be more than 50,000 in any case. And if that is accepted, then the salary of Mr. X is less than 50,000 per month. So this is how we write down null hypothesis. Okay, now few things that I want to tell you. We identified variables: independent, dependent, mediating, moderating. Extraneous is what is mediating variable is. Now, what do we study in research about these variables? We study relationship between these variables, whether there is any relationship. If one changes, what is the impact on other? One thing. We check differences. If a digital market is influencing us, so does it influences male more or female more? Or is there a difference in influencing factor? So we check differences. Third is impact. Impact of online learning on students' performance. Impact of online learning on students' performance. Now tell me, how can we use word impact when I'm collecting a data? The question is, just a second, I'll show you. Why you should not be using the word impact so loosely. I said impact of online teaching on students' performance. So what I will do is, I'll go to students, I'll prepare a questionnaire, go to student and a teacher. I will ask them, were you comfortable with online teaching? Do you think your performance was improved? Is this the way of collecting the data for impact of online teaching on students' performance? Can your data justify your results? You may ask 50 teachers, you may ask 50 students, or 500 teachers. 500. Will just by collecting the respondents' experience, you'll be able to understand impact of something. Don't you think impact can be studied only in the only two ways? Whenever you use word impact, always remember it is experimental study. Experimental study always have two ways. One is pre and post. Another is control group. There is only two ways of studying the impact of something on someone. Yeah, somebody said, ma'am, results can help us. So how will I know the results? That particular year result I will take up, or I'll compare. Without online teaching, what was the result? And with the online teaching, what was the result? I can compare pre and post. Then I can say, okay, significant impact. Or what I can do is, I can split the classroom of 100 students into 50-50. 50 will not get online teaching, 50 will get online teaching. And I will compare the results. Can I do that? Comparing two groups, constant and the focus group. And I can get the impact. So you cannot use the word impact so loosely. If in a research, in an object, you want to study some relationship, you can say influence, effect, something like. No, don't directly use word impact of something. If you are using impact, then you should go for experimental study. In an experimental study, there are two ways. One is pre and post, test, retest, and control group. Okay. Okay, now let's just come to the last part of our, what was the time? Okay, I have last 5 minutes and I don't know I will be able to complete this part of I will take another 5 minutes. Is it okay with the participants? Switi ma'am, can I extend for 5 minutes?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
It's okay.
Now let us understand variables and categories. Most of the researchers makes mistakes here. One is variable which moves, another are categories. When we study gender, age, income, occupation, they are actually not a variables. They are categories. They are constant. Correct. Now how to understand this is here. Marks of girls and boys. Marks is variables. Do you think girls and boys are variable? They are categories. If I want to study the difference of marks between girls and boys, what kind of hypothesis I should frame? What kind of study is this? See, remember there are three types of hypothetical study: univariate, bivariate, multivariate. How will I write down this? Students' marks are variable, gender is category. Always uses word differences. When you do univariate, a single variable study, how many variables are there? The problem of the study is to identify the differences in the marks of girls and boys. How many variable? Only one variable is there, marks. Girls and boys are category. There is no significant difference between the marks of students and their gender. Or I can say there is no significant difference between the marks of girls and marks of boys. Can I write this way? There is no significant relationship between marks and gender. Can I write this? Will this go technically correct? Will this go technically correct that there is no significant relationship between marks? Relationship can be between two variables and not between variable and category. So all demographic profile that we collect are not variables, they are categories. You should know this basic difference. And it is between two same things, right? But you want to know the marks of girls, marks of boys, and check whether they are different from each other. So that is the word differences come. So in the univariate analysis, you always use what differences. Second is bivariate. When you have two variables, you're not talking about categories now. Understanding whether teaching method influences the performance of students. Teaching method influences the performance of the students in examination. Variables are teaching methods, score of students. Two variables. Hypothesis, there is no significant relationship between teaching methods adopted by teacher and the performance of the students. I am studying two variables, teaching and performance. So that becomes bivariate analysis. And so let us come back. Review of literature. I identified variables. From variables, I created those hypothetical models, hypothesis, which was existing in that literature. From that hypothesis, now I am writing my objective of the study. Another is analyze relationship between what? Employee satisfaction and working hours, between consumer buying motive and model of advertisement, mode of advertisement, etc. Now, what is this multivariate? When we are studying multiple relationship between two variables, more than two variables, there are more independent and one dependent, or it is opposite, there is one independent influencing various dependent variables, then that becomes a complex relationship. Developing relationship between teaching methods, learning style of the students, and classroom environment with student satisfaction. And this is a very complicated thing that we are studying. Which are the variables? Teaching method, learning styles, classroom environment, student satisfaction, and their academic scores. This is multivariate relationship. So first you have to name them, whether they are independent, dependent, mediating or moderating, and then derive to your objective of the study. That looking at this now, the question arises, ma'am, how many literature should we review so that we create hypothesis? You cannot create hypothesis only by reviewing one paper. You have to review multiple papers, maybe 25, 30, 35. At least 30 people should say, yes, there is a relationship between teaching method and performance. Then you say, yes, that there is a relationship between teaching methods and performance, because there are 30 review of literature supporting this statement. And you want to still check with some changes, changing in institution, changing with the teaching methods, etc. And the one last thing that I wanted to show you all, this is multivariate analysis. I told you that I will come to this point. Teaching quality, technical service quality, functional service quality, perceived values, image, all these leads to student satisfaction. Now, technical quality, functional quality, and all these are the independent variable which influences student satisfaction, which is dependent variable. Correct? This is again a complex multivariate analysis. So you should know before going high with data collection, before going to choose which test, structural equation modeling, regression, polynomial regression, which regression I will use. You should first know, you should do review of literature, derive your variables. From that variables, create hypothesis, create a model, and then check. You can in fact add one more variable in this. There may be something that comes through literature that very less people have studied, that, okay, perceived service quality of the student. What are students perceiving about service quality and student satisfaction? There is something like their knowledge about service quality, which year they are studying in, moderating variable. So you can create one more variable here, and you can say, okay, there is one more variable, that is students age, students stage of which year they are studying. It is influencing them. This is how we create a model. And from here we start our journey of objective of the study. So I guess that's it. I extended for 4 more minutes. I'm so sorry. I hope I have justified my this topic given to me, and I was able to explain you, make you all understand the concept of review of literature and how to solve those complex research papers into just copying it down. One more thing. This is what happens to me when I'm so sorry, ma'am. Just one more last thing. I wanted to show you all what is this is what you can do is go to Emerald. Arey yaar. Go to Emerald Insight. I'm just showing you one of the example. They will not give you full complete paper. If you want to go to quality research paper, right? You say relationship between anything that you write down that comes to your mind, teaching methods on students' performance. See how you can actually trick this. So in the Emerald End site, if you have this opportunity with all the brand qualitative research journals, see you will get various research papers here. Wait. You should know how to use different words to get a right kind of factors influencing academic performance in the quality. You click this, open in a new tab, go here, see how easily everything is now available. I have filled up my Excel sheet only with Emerald Insight, more than 50 to 60 research papers on the same topic. Factors influencing academic performance in the quantitative course among undergraduate business students. So what I do is I go here. First of all, I'll pick up the citation. So they give you ready-made citation. No need to create. Copy this in the first column. Purpose, copy it in your second column. Method is already given, and findings. Now, if you have these things available, why you want to read the entire paper in the initial stage? Read only when it is required. Got it? So some of these example, I thought I'll show you how do I do this. Effect of digital flipped classroom. So again, I'll open this in the Emerald Insight. I go to citation. I pick up the citation from here. See, citation is already available. I'll go to purpose. So these papers are not available. It is very expensive to have a subscription, but they give abstract. Abstract includes everything. So just by reading abstract, you are doing a wonderful ROI. That's it. Yeah, ma'am, now you can conclude.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? If you have any questions, please, you can raise your hands. Okay, ma'am. So I think they are very clear about your session, ma'am. Okay.
I hope they are clear, or else they are more confused. I don't know.
Okay. So we will conclude this session, ma'am.
Yeah.
Today, I take this opportunity to put all my gratitude in words on behalf of Patrician College. I would like to thank the resource person, Dr. Kayati ma'am, for taking her precious time out and consenting to be a resource person. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, you have gave us a clear picture how to write a review of literature, to find the research gap and formulating hypothesis. We had a fruitful session, ma'am. I thank all the participants for active participation. And I once again thank everyone for making this program successful one. Thank you all. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So participants, please fill the feedback attendance sheet. It will be shared in your
chat box. Thank you, ma'am. Tomorrow we will join again. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.